Hey, what's up, y'all? And I am a football channel that does a little other sports content, but is mostly focused on NFL and college football. And here are my top 20 teams at the end of the season, and I'll obviously reveal the four college football teams, playoff teams, and at the end I will also reveal 10 games that are going to be extremely crucial to the season that you should watch, and their dates. I'll skip mostly through 20 and 10 and go more in depth to the top 10 schools. SMU, two losses to Cincinnati, just that simple. I don't think they're going to be this all-world team, and I think they're going to lose to Cincinnati by a good margin. A&M, 9 and 3. Good, solid team. I think once they get their quarterback back, they might, skate through the rest of their regular season. But I have them losing to either Auburn or Ole Miss. Michigan, I have them losing to the ranked teams they play. I think they're going to skip their way to their usual Citrus Bowl. Texas, I think they're a good team. They honestly should have beat Oklahoma, and it's shameful that they didn't. And now I think they just kind of, go undefeated the rest of the season, which is a strong order thing because they play teams like Oklahoma State this week and Baylor, which might screw up my prediction, but very good. Overall, good team, and this is going to be the best year for a while. Arkansas, this came out of nowhere. I did not think Bacon Bits was going to be this good, and I'm calling them Bacon Bits after that Ole Miss shredded their defense. Still a great year, but I think they're going to lose to Bama by a good margin, and finish here and go to maybe even a New Year's Six Bowl, depending on how things fall. Ole Miss, solid team. I think they lose one more game. However, to a team like A&M, Auburn, maybe even Mississippi State on a final, missed extra point, I don't really know. Oklahoma State, simply, I think they're gonna lose to Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game, and to Texas this week. There's not much to say. They're undefeated, but their poor schedule keeps them from being ranked higher. Penn State, solid team, but without Sean Clifford, I don't see them going to the top 10, maybe even the playoffs with Sean Clifford, and they're not going to reach their potential. I have them losing Ohio State, but they may get them back before the other two ranked games. Ohio State, I have them beating Penn State, so I rank them one higher, but I think that Oregon lost, and they lose to another team further on this list in the Big Ten. Notre Dame, 11-1. I'll start going more in depth on Notre Dame. Poor schedule keeps them from being ranked higher, and that loss to Cincinnati. Well, Cincinnati is a pretty good school, and they are really good this year, and will probably make the playoffs. Well, according to me, will make the playoffs. I just don't see them being ranked any higher. Kentucky, 11-1 also. Also, not that tough of a schedule. Definitely better than Notre Dame's, but not by a lot. Kentucky will lose to Georgia. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose one other opponent, because early in the season they didn't look as good. So I think maybe after the Georgia loss they may drop another game. But I truly believe this Kentucky football team, oh that hurts so much to say, will be good. And this is going to be your best season in 30 years probably. I can't remember the last time Kentucky football was top 15 relevant. Wake Forest? I don't think they're great. However, the ACC is not very tough this year, and I see them losing to one team, or even maybe Pittsburgh in the ACC championship. But I just can't put them any higher because how weak the ACC is this year, and I think the other teams on this list are a little better and have better strength of schedule. Bama 11-2. I think they lose to Georgia in the SEC championship, and their current loss to A&M is going to hurt them tremendously when talking about the playoffs. They'd be disappointed again, but you can't make the playoffs every year. Iowa. Solid team, great defense. It's the offense that worries me. I think it's going to be kind of like the 2015 season. I don't think they would have even beat Penn State if Sean Clifford didn't go down, honestly. But, solid season, and wouldn't be surprised if they do win the Big Ten championship. Oregon. That Stanford loss is keeping them out. I can't put you if you lost to a mid-level Pac-12 school that might go 6-6. Just the resumes above you are just so much better that I can't put you higher. Number 1, Georgia. Self-explanatory. They're good this year. That defensive line especially is ferocious, and it pains me to say it, that they might even stop their streak of blowing SEC championships to Bama, even though that aggravated me as an LSU fan. It was always funny to tease my Georgia fans who are my friends about how, pathetic their team is when it matters. Michigan State. I'm gonna get some crap for this one. I know it. But I have them losing to Penn State at the end of the regular season, but locking up the Big Ten. Big Ten East. They're a good team. They have a balanced run, pass, attack, and I think their defense could improve. And I overall think they might be the best team in the Big Ten East. The big game will be versus Ohio State. That will decide the Big Ten East. Oklahoma. It saddens me to put them here because I'm sick of seeing them lose in the first round, but it's just Big 12 is just kind of weak. I think they're going to drop a game, maybe against Oklahoma State or some other miscellaneous Big 12 school, but I think they overall win the Big 12 championship like usual, and and make the playoffs. Do not sleep on this team. I think Cincinnati will be the first non-Power 5 school to make it. Their resume is going to be great. I think they're going undefeated and a champion. Plus, this would likely give them 2, ranked wins. And for reference, Oregon, based on, my predictions, will likely be also 2-0, but I don't have them losing to any miscellaneous teams. They're passing the eye test. They're blowing out teams. They're winning like they should be. And I know that might sound like giving them credit for the bare minimum, but most schools ain't doing that. Bama, Oregon are my examples. So, here's my window. Here are my what is my picture? And if I have to give a prediction, I think it's going to be decently competitive. I'm biased, but I have Michigan State going to the national championship. I'm not going to make any predictions besides that. Games to look for: Kentucky, Georgia, Oklahoma State versus Texas this week. The 30th, I have, basically Big Ten semifinals: Michigan State, and Penn State, Ohio State. Particularly this Michigan State game, because I had those two teams as being undefeated going into that game. And also tune into the Penn State game, because that's going to be electric. Michigan, Penn State, and A&M and Ole Miss on the 13th. I think those are going to be two good games. I don't think A&M and Ole Miss will have much of a college football like playoff implications as the November 13th game might have. But I think it's going to be a good game that will definitely affect, New Year's Six bowl games. Cincinnati, SMU. The first of the matchups I predict, that's going to be a really good game, a very high scoring game. It's going to be very interesting. Michigan State versus Ohio State. I think it's going to be the Big Ten East Championship, and it's going to be a very entertaining game, like Michigan State and Ohio State usually do when they're both ranked. November 27th, I got Michigan versus Ohio State, Penn State, MSU, and Oklahoma State. I've always loved the weekend after Thanksgiving, because there's always all these great games, and that weekend's likely it's the last weekend of the season before conference championships, so it's going to decide a lot of things, and especially circle this Oklahoma State game. December 3rd and December 4th, the conference championships obviously matter, especially tune into the Big Ten and the SEC ones, and keep the American and the keep the American one in your background, because if Cincinnati loses, then there's no way they make the college football playoff. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope y'all have a nice day. Please like and subscribe.